Hey, I'm your host, Tyler Weeman, and come join us at LineStar. $39.99 per month gets you access to all we do. The DFS, the props, you get it all for one low price. We also have a free trial option. Take a peek for free for 7 days. We have a 4.8 star rating and over 7,100 reviews or ratings. Come try us out. See why everybody loves us. I think you will as well. Now let's dive in. So big time injury news situation here is the fact that Keon Coleman is likely to be back with this team, as he was a healthy scratch on Sunday, week 11, but he should be back. Curtis Samuel's out. Dalton Kincaid is out. And then on the Texans side, CJ Stroud once again will not be playing. So now let's dive into it. We're going to start off by going over the top captains and MVPs that I like. And I think this is a pay up at captain spot week. I like Josh Allen, James Cook, Nico Collins, and Woody Marks. Those are my 4 favorite guys and really where I would be building lineups around. I do not think it's a pay down at captain week. And the reason being is it's going to be very hard to pick which guy to pay down to. But the pay down options are all going to have very similar lineups. It's going to be Josh Allen. It's going to be James Cook. It's going to be Nico Collins. It's going to be Woody Marks. Those guys are all going to get slammed in with a cheap captain. And so while you think you're getting different because the captain isn't high owned, you're going to put him with so many other high owned players with not a ton of salary flexibility. It'll just make more dupes. So I think it's pay up option, and there's a slew of cheap guys you can use to make your lineup different. So let's get over the options. So Josh Allen, highest owned. He is the quarterback, my primary for the Bills. The reason being is I think this game profiles as one that Super Josh may have to come out with. What do I mean by Super Josh? Super Josh is the Josh Allen that has to go out and win the game. The Bills are still without Dalton Kincaid, which very much affects their offense. The other aspect, Houston Texans have been very, very good this season on defense. They have been great at holding running backs back. And then they have a Stingley who's an amazing corner and can totally take out an offensive wide receiver. Now, it's a little different for the Bills because the Bills don't have like one stud they go to. They just go to everybody. And so whoever's on Stingley for that series is pretty much just out of the game. All in all, though, I think this one is a Super Josh game where he is going to be needed to run the ball, needed around the red zone to punch it in. And with that, it profiles as a perfect Josh Allen captain game. I generally don't like quarterbacks in captain spot unless they can rush and unless they have touchdown rushing ability. And Josh Allen most certainly does. If you watch that game versus Tampa Bay last week, you saw he had 3 rushing touchdowns. Then we have James Cook. Now, I love James Cook. He is a great running back, but my issue with him is this Houston team has been extremely good against running back. Over the last 10 games or so, they are 3rd overall versus RB in fantasy points allowed. Pollard struggled. Etienne, he got a touchdown, but he only had 58 yards and 16 attempts. Dobbins, only 61 yards. CMC held the 9.8 points, and Kenneth Walker at 6.6. The team has been extremely good against running backs, and I think James Cook may have to get it done in the receiving game, but we've seen that happen before. This is also, you can talk up Ty Johnson for this because he obviously has a very huge receiving work role in this game. Next, on the Texans side, we got 2 guys. We got Nico Collins and we got Woody Marks. I think both are very interesting. I do prefer Woody Marks, though. The Bills have given it up to the running back this season. If you look at our matchup tool, 29th versus RB1 is the Bills. On our team defense tool, they are 29th versus RB1. They have got gouged from the running back. Woody Marks is in a great spot, 5-star alert score, and he has taken over this backfield. The Bills have allowed 121.2 rushing yards per game and some work in the receiving games and 1.4 tutties. I think Woody Marks is a smash spot. Next, we got Nico Collins. He has been very good with Davis Mills. He's got consistent targets, 10 targets, 9 for 92 in a tutty versus Tennessee, 7 for 136 versus Jacksonville. I like the spot for Nico Collins. I think there's big time upside, but the Bills have been extremely good versus wide receivers this season, only allowing 132.9 yards per game. Then if you go to our team defense tool, they are 23rd versus the wide receiver one. They have been solid against the other wide receivers. So I think if you're going to play wide receiver, Nico Collins is the clear cut number one for Houston this week. So those are our MVPs. And now let's dig into the rest. At the quarterback, Davis Mills is obviously in play. You can use him as a flex. I would not use him as a captain, though. You're throwing Davis Mills in lineups where you have probably 2 Houston pass catchers. Into the running back world, and we went over Cooks, we went over Marks. Those are obvious options. If you're trying to save some salary, pay down a little bit. I think Ty Johnson has some interest at 3,400. We already talked about the receiving spot versus Houston, and Ty Johnson, that's his role. He is the receiving back, and over the last 4, Houston has given up 6 receptions for 41.8 yards per game. Nick Chubb is pretty much out of the offense, rarely used. It's this is in case Woody Marks get hurt play, and I think that's pretty much all. Now, let's get into the wide receiver room. And now this is why I say we can really get different on this slate, and we don't necessarily have to go to the top end wide receivers. Outside of Nico Collins, he's a beast. But then Khalil Shakir, without Dalton Kincaid, without Keon Coleman last week, only played 50% of the snaps. I'm absolutely worried about what his snap share is going to go forward, as well as Keon Coleman. But at least Keon Coleman is 5,400. Keon Coleman is likely still their wide receiver, their ex-wide receiver. I don't want to say one because it is Shakir. Shakir has the biggest target rate. But Coleman's probably going to be out there a lot. You can use him, but Stingley is probably going to be on him a lot. And if that's the case, he is going to be pretty much erased by Stingley. So I do have some worry about Coleman, but he's going to be out there. If Stingley's not shadowing him, because, I mean, they really don't need to shadow anybody on this spot, then there is some path to Coleman upside. Outside of that, Palmer, Shavers, Gabe Davis, all should play. All of them played 40 to 55% last week. Shavers had a great game at 2,400. And I don't know if they can put that genie back in the bottle. I think they need to give him run. 4 for 90 and a tutty. That was the second time this season he's had 5 targets, and the last time was 3 for 27. I think Shavers kind of needs to be out there for them, because besides Shakir, nobody's really shown any consistency from this wide receiver group. Josh Palmer was out there for 50-something% of snaps. Really hasn't done much all year, but he is a little bit of a deep threat. The issue with Palmer, him and Gabe Davis are a little bit the same player. The only thing with Gabe Davis, he does have a rapport with Josh Allen. He can get deep. Josh Allen knows it and trusts him. He went 3 for 40 in his very first game after a couple years without the Bills. So at least consider that. So with the Bills, there's a slew of guys to consider. The only one you can kind of count on to get snaps is Shakir, but he's only out there 50-60% of the time. So while his target rate is solid and the best of the Bills, there's still some worry. On the other side, we got Nico Collins clearing away the top option, but we can't forget about Jaden Higgins. He is now firmly the wide receiver 2 for this team, and he's been running right around 60% of the snaps. He has a huge catch radius, and he has 2 back-to-back games with 7 targets, 4 for 55 and 5 for 42 with a tutty. In his last 4 games, he has 2 touchdowns. And look, the Texans are going to need to score. I think Jaden Higgins is an absolute beast in the red zone and can be used in this spot. I almost said Hayden Jiggins. And then we got Xavier Hutchinson there at 3K. He's been running a ton of routes, really hasn't done too much with it. Christian Kirk running around 50% of the snaps, 2,800 can be used, as well as Jalen Noel at 1,600. There's a slew of places we can go at the wide receiver spot. That's why I like paying up. Then we can get different. We throw 2 low-priced, wide receivers in, and you're able to put in, 3-4 studs with it while paying up at the captain spot. And I think that's the best way to build for this slate. We get into the tight end spot. Dalton Schultz is the only one we can actually count on to get targets. However, he's in a very tough matchup versus the Bills, who have been very good versus the versus the tight end. Opponent rank is 1 so far this season, only allowing 27 yards a game and 0.1 touchdown. Yeah, they have allowed 1 touchdown the entire season to the tight end. And Dalton Schultz is no game breaker. While he's been decent over the backstretch or the last half of this season, I don't love the upside here versus the Bills. Dawson Knox, going to be out there a ton, going to run 60-70% of the snaps, and has some upside red zone utility. And Jackson Haas at 2K is simply a touchdown or bust candidate. Into the defensive realm. All right. Bills are 6-point favorites, but it's on the road. They also haven't had a ton of upside with their defense this year. If you look at their scores, 0, 10, 2, 6, 6, 4, 17, 6, 3, 4. While this Houston offense isn't anything amazing, the Bills have struggled at times to create pressure. Without pressure, this Houston offense is good enough to not give you many points. So I don't love the Bills defense, but as 6-point favorites, you also kind of need to consider them. Anytime a team is like a touchdown favorite, you kind of need to consider their defense, just because there's blowout potential, which then leads to more sacks, more throwing, more possible interceptions. But then on the Texans side, it's going against Josh Allen, which you don't want to do, but this defense has been unreal. 5 is their low on the season. They have an 18 versus a good Seattle team, 2 14s, an 11, and have sat around 6-9 the whole season. The defense is legit, and with that, I think you can consider them. On to the kicker realm, Prater or Wright, both can be considered. Wright hit 3 field goals last week in his first week with the Texans, or as the starter. And then Prater, old reliable. The man's been doing it all season long, getting it done. There's a solid upside there. On these single game slates, you never know how it's going to go, but we have 2 teams that are decent defensively or solid defensively, which can make them better in the red zone and create more field goals. So that's going to do it for us today, guys. I hope you guys have a good one. Thank you for joining in, and I will see you later. Please come join us at LineStar. Try us out 7 days free. Go to the Google or Apple app store and download us there. Thank you, guys. Please also like, comment, and subscribe to the video. It helps us a ton. Peace.